Okay, I saw this post. So this guy, I don't know who this guy is. He's called Mark Groves. He said, if you're not creating, you'll be hooked by consumption. This is the trap of not living and expressing your purpose. You create a neural pathway for distractions so you don't feel the pain of abandoning your soul's mission.
Well, read that again.
If you're not creating, you'll be hooked by consumption. This is the trap of not living and expressing your purpose. You create a neural pathway for distractions so you don't feel the pain of abandoning your soul's mission.
Okay, Mark.
I know.
God.
I mean, kind of dramatic, but
Mark was clearly in a dick mood when he made his post.
well, it also kind of jumps
But
around. Like he's talking about the neural pathway. You'll create a neural pathway for distraction so you don't feel the pain of abandoning your soul's mission. And then he's like assuming that if you're not creating, you'll be hooked by consumption. So this is the trap of not living and expressing your purpose. So he's basically saying everyone that's like consuming a bunch of stuff is not really living their purpose because they're
and
not creating.
that we all should be creating. What if somebody's purpose is just to be a parent or a caregiver?
Right. Like we're like just you know how like sometimes with the cards, like the mission or like the soul's purpose in the cards is like way more vague than that.
Yeah.
Like and your soul's mission might just be to experience like I don't know, like some people are here for like learning how to clear trauma or
Well, clearly my soul is here to learn how to like get in and out of relationships. That's not creating, Mark.
but anyway, so I want to ask like in the bubble like what is wrong with these statements?
Well, let's ask, is there anything wrong with these statements?
Okay, is there anything I don't know if wrong's the right word, but like what's like is there anything like misleading about these statements?
Oh, they like that question much better. Finger on the nose. They're like, yes, Mark is a creator. So
Yeah.
Mark is living his life. Like Mark can't imagine, by the way, Mark is the guy that wrote the post. We don't know him. He
No.
can't imagine, because he's such a creator, he can't imagine that some people might not align with that word or like have a purpose that aligns with that word.
Well, he's like defining creator in a certain way, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they're like
Like he's
technically,
defining creator as like having output.
right. Right. They're like technically you are all co-creators. You are all co-creating your life. Every single human being on some level is creating. You are creating your reality, your experiences, your suffering, your joy, all the stuff. So like Mark's not wrong there, but that's not what Mark meant. Or maybe Mark didn't know that's what Mark meant. They're always just so kind.
Yeah.
I just want him to say Mark's a dumbass.
They never will.
No, they never will. So they're like, if you pull back and think of it from that perspective, that part is accurate.
Sorry.
Oh,
I was looking up who he is. Okay. I can help you liberate you from your patterns so you can heart it all out, love it all out. He's called Create the Love. He has a podcast. Anyway, continue.
now they're looking at the part where he was talking about consuming. Like consumption in and of itself is not a bad thing. Consumption's necessary. You consume food, you consume beverages, you consume water, you consume life, you consume love. Like anytime you're taking anything in, by definition, it is consumption. And they're like, some people are here to take in a lot of information, synthesize it, and then create a new level of output. So they're like, for those people, that post is entirely wrong because they're purpose is to consume. So they're like, he's using big words to grab attention,
Well, yeah, he's being
big
dramatic.
blanket words to grab
Yeah.
as many people as possible to get attention, to like turn into clients. So they don't like that. They're like, if you're going to market yourself, be specific. Don't bait. Don't create fear or paranoia. They're just like, there's enough isms, like consumerism, and like all the like materialism, all the isms that we think are not good. They're like, there's enough of that out there already that we don't need to create more of it. They also don't like that he's like talking about how like you create a new neural pathway. So there's like literally everything in your life that you do is based off of a neural pathway or is creating one. It's not all bad. It's not all good. It can be a little bit of mix of both, but they're just like, this now is using a word that was going to create more fear. Like, oh my God, I programmed myself to behave this way. I didn't even know it. I'm so out of touch with myself. They're like, this post is just all about giving your power away on every level. So they're not a fan of it. She's like, not a fan. Yeah, they're like, Mark might be able to help people, but they're like, Mark needs to help himself first.
Oh, that's like, yeah, because it's like that alignment with like the scare tactic. Like, there's part of you that thinks that's okay, or like, I mean, I hate to be judging, but it's like, I guess I would ask myself, like, why am I aligned with, if I were him, why am I aligned with using scare tactics or like that level of like judgment to get clients?
It's
You
probably
know what I
how he,
mean?
yeah. Yeah, they're just like, it's probably how he views life. There's like, this is a very type A approach.
That's
What,
brotastic too.
brotastic. When you were asking that question, one of the things that they were saying is there's a difference between fear-based marketing and meeting people where they are. That is an example of fear-based marketing. Most people are not sitting around worrying about their neural pathways.
That's a good point. I am not. Are you?
No, no. So what he's done, whether it's conscious or not, is now created a new fear for people of, oh my God, have I programmed myself to divert myself from my purpose?
Well, and it's like, I just was thinking when I first read it, I was like, there is no piece of advice or statement like that that can be applied to like a whole bunch of people. And it's
No.
like, it's like, you can't say that because you're consuming whatever it is, stuff or whatever he's implying, because he's not even being specific about what he's implying. Is it like buying shit or is it consuming social media? And it's like, he's making such a leap about why people might be doing that.
Well, he's judging behavior without knowing the reason for behavior. For example, and this is not the bubble speaking, this is just me, Candy speaking. I play games on my phone. Sometimes I do it because I just like need to create the space for like something that's processing to process through. And so I don't necessarily want to be on social media. I don't want to like be watching TV. Like I don't want to input my brain with more things to distract it. I just want to play a basic bitch game to like give my conscious mind something to focus on, right? Like picking the right color at the right time. So then the stuff in the background can work through whatever it is that it needs to work through. And sometimes in those moments, I have the best aha because like I've let my mind go. It's kind of like, sort of like a form of meditating, but
Yeah.
without sitting there meditating. So I don't like the post because it disempowers people.
Yeah. So okay, so I have another question about this, like not in the bubble necessarily yet, but we can talk through it first. The idea of distraction, like think about how much that word is being used right now all over the
Yeah,
place about
it's a
everything.
buzzword for sure.
Yeah, so now I'm like, okay, now I do have a bubble question.
Okay.
Although I don't really know what it is. Let me see. What do I want to know about this? Okay, well, I guess I just want to hear what they have to say about the concept of distraction and the way that people are generally using it. Like it's either like this so and so group is trying to distract you from what's really happening, or this guy's saying you're consuming stuff, so you're being distracted from your real purpose.
Ooh, this is a really good question. So they're flashing me the audiobook that I just finished and the book that I'm reading, which are both about Buddhist philosophy and meditation. I did not know that they were both about the same thing when I started each of them. And they're what they were doing is they were like kind of showing me how your question against what those books would say. And like first, to your point earlier, it's a judgment. He's judging, they're judging, whoever is talking about distraction is judging that whatever it is that, like, they're labeling something a distraction that may or may not be a distraction. So they're like, there's that piece. There's a human judgment being assigned to something. And they were reminding me like how these books would say that wherever you are is where you are. So if you are caught up in a quote unquote distraction, maybe that's where you need to be. So while it might seem to a distraction to someone else, it might serve a really important person or purpose to the person that is caught up in it or consuming it or partaking in it, playing in it, whatever the right word would be. Like, you don't get distracted. You allow yourself to be distracted. If you allow yourself to be distracted, there's probably a purpose behind why you're allowing yourself to be distracted. Air quotes around distracted. They still don't really like the term distracted. Like, for example, someone may be feeling an intense amount of pain and they need what would be labeled a distraction just as a means to re-regulate their system, to allow themselves to pull out of whatever pain spiral they're in, to calm the nervous system with the distraction, to be able to re-regulate, and then perhaps lean back into the painful situation, maybe from not such a depth of pain, so that they can now allow themselves to start processing it. Like, sticking with this example, sometimes pain is just too much. It like overloads the whole circuit board and our ability to find our way out of it. Like, we just can't, we're lost in darkness. So in those points, distractions are very important. They like give us a chance to breathe and regain our footing and get some perspective. And then we can meet the pain maybe at a level that doesn't feel so deep and so dark. So there's like, distractions aren't always a bad thing. Like, if you're experiencing it, it's probably never a bad thing. There's probably a purpose behind it, even if it's to realize that you're being distracted. Now they're like, distracting from your purpose, that assumes that you could ever get totally distracted from your purpose, which they don't necessarily like that idea.
They don't agree with that, yeah.
They're like, your purpose is your purpose, and a part of you is always going to work really hard to redirect you back to it. And while you might not get the full experience of a purpose, it's also nearly impossible for you to not have some experience of your purpose.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that. They were kind of showing like, so there's probably because there's all these advertisements for that movie F1 with Brad Pitt,
Oh, yeah.
who I used to love and still looks amazing. So I'm probably going to go see the movie or maybe I'll just wait and rent it. But they're like, so his purpose is to be an F1 race car driver. There's like, I don't know, 30 or 40 F1 drivers in the entire world. So if you came in like feeling that that was your purpose, it might be a purpose that is incredibly hard to fulfill. Like so many things have to line up right. But maybe instead you become a stock car racer, which pretty much every small town in America has a stock car track. So they're like, you're still living out a sliver of that purpose. It's not the F1 driver, but it's a different kind of race car driver. So they're just using that as an example of like, that would be like an example of where your purpose didn't escape you. It just didn't get fulfilled to the degree that maybe your soul had hoped.
Right. So this is like they're talking at a more specific level than like when we look at the cards and there's like a purpose that comes through with the vibration of what card you have. None
Yeah.
of it would be as specific as like race car driver
Right.
ever.
Right.
But there are some specific cards that are like, oh, these tend to be a lot of times there's athletes that have this card, or kind of gives you more strengths in certain areas that might then guide you toward this idea that like you somehow wanted to come and experience being a race car driver.
Yeah, like maybe you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie, maybe you're a risk taker, maybe you like adventure.
Maybe you
And
played it way too safe in the last lifetime, and now you want to.
exactly. Now you just want to
die
see
on
how
the track.
fast you can go. But they're like, yes, you're exactly right. This is an excellent, all these are excellent examples of all these different attributes come together and that manifests in the human as feeling like, oh, I'm meant to be an F1 driver. This is a part of who I am, quote unquote, part of who I am, my soul. This is what's calling to me. But yeah, they're like, you're not gonna read anything anywhere that says sole purpose, F1 race car driver.
Right.
Sole purpose, brain surgeon. Like it's never gonna be
Yeah.
that specific.
Right. You're just going to feel that calling because it kind of aligns with a whole bunch of different things, including your astrology, your numerology, like your previous life, whatever, maybe the way you were raised, like what your parents did, all that kind of stuff. And you'll just feel like, but you hear those things from people who are, like Carlos, what's his name? This tennis player talking about how he
Oh,
was like
Alvarez.
yeah, such an admirer of, was it Federer? I'm getting this all jacked up, but it's like,
Or was
and
it
they were like the exact
Agassi?
same age when they won the whatever, and I don't know, there's all these crazy things
I thought it
like
was
that
Agassi.
align. Oh, really?
I thought maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Federer. I don't know, but yes, I saw the same thing where like, yeah, they were the exact same age.
Yeah.
But yeah, clearly like there was some part of his experience that aligned with being a professional tennis player.
Yeah, like
Kid's
it's
a
like that
natural.
calling you kind of have, like it's like the way you kind of know as a kid, it's like you just feel like such a calling toward that thing that's kind of like part of your purpose. But again, you can't really screw it up. But it's kind of like, it reminds me of what our old business coach, we call him dun dun dun, and sometimes dun 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 dun.
Those are the nicest things we call him.
Right, we don't use his name. He's very psychic, maybe one of the most psychic people ever. But he said, I remember him saying one time that, I don't know that he used the word soul purpose, but he did say like you could do like an A plus, or you could do it like C minus. Do you remember what he
Right.
was talking about?
I don't, but I do vaguely remember that.
I mean, again, you're grading and judging it, but I see what he's saying. It's like the fullest expression, like you win all the F1 races, or like you're doing stock car races. Like either way,
Right.
it's still expressing the purpose.
Yeah.
So what about like the part of that, those quotes from Mark that said that, oh shit, what was I going to ask? Like, I guess he's kind of saying like it's a way that people are filling the gap when they're not expressing their purpose. So like, what would we look for as signs that we're not expressing our purpose? And I think he's using the word express and create as the same thing. So I'm fine with that expression, because I think sometimes when you hear create, you're like, I have to be painting something or like
Right.
writing a novel. No,
Right.
creation, and this is true in the cards too. Like a three, people who are threes, they're like expressive, they're creative. That the three means you're going to express or create something, maybe if you have it in your cards for the year. But the idea is like the same. You're just bringing something out into the universe, whether it's talking more with your friends, could be expressing, like you're just having more coffee meetings and with friends and just like chit chatting, but it's just like bringing something from inside out, if you think of it that way. So I agree with him on like creation, expression is the same thing. But I forget my question. Do you remember? Because I have perimenopause. I was like,
How
I know.
how would you know if you're distracting yourself?
Yeah. Do you want me to ask it, or do you want to ask it?
No, no, I got it.
Okay, good.
Because it came in when you asked the question the first time. I was like, hang on
Okay.
to it.
Thank
Hang on
God,
to
because I
it.
forgot already. Fuck. Okay.
I'm gonna hold on to it. Um, they're like, you will experience inside yourself something that might feel like a deep yearning, or like you're missing an opportunity, or that feeling of FOMO. Now, like, we're going to caveat this. If someone is depressed or dealing with life on a really heavy level, they might not have those sensations, or they might not be able to tune in to sense those sensations, because what they need to deal with is what is like the thing that's at the surface. In which case, like that should be the priority. So they're like, let's cut out the group of people that might be depressed, or on some level perimenopausal, or like whatever, dealing with some health,
Yeah, or
mental,
they're just like, I
emotional.
mean, they're overwhelmed with their job and their kids. Like,
Exactly. Right. Like,
it's, yeah.
setting that aside, like the we're looking at the average person who is healthy, capable, and able in this moment to express their purpose. If those people, for whatever reason, are distracting themselves, they will feel it. They're like, they'll feel it to their core. And it'll almost make them so antsy that it'll be hard for them to sit in the energy of distraction.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I have so many thoughts. There's so many thoughts in my brain right now. First,
well,
go ahead.
one of the things that, like, when you were talking about it before, when you asked the question and then we're talking, they showed, like, you and I, when we started IYG,
Oh my God, I was just thinking about this. This is the first thought, and then there's like six more after that, but continue.
and where we are now. And then, like, someone could look at that and say, judge the situation as you got distracted from your purpose. But, like, we've talked with you about this enough. It's not that you got distracted from your purpose. It's that you needed to collect more information. You needed to get clearer. You needed to dial in the message. You needed to dial in the skill set. You needed to build your own confidence around it. And you needed the audience that you're going to be speaking to and working with to be ready. So they're like, on some level, we had to allow you to be distracted, quote unquote distracted, so that you didn't get frustrated and abandon the purpose of what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys know we did we did those fucking cardology reports, like all 52 of them, probably like what felt like 12 times.
Yeah, and the first iteration of them was done in what, 2014?
Yeah.
So over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago. Y'all, we've been at this for over 10 years.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like, right. That's the thing well, first of all, okay. We talked about this before, but that Abraham Hicks, I remember them talking about kind of like procrastination, and how like if there is really like this purpose and you're really meant to be doing this thing, or you, and I don't say, I hate saying meant to, but like maybe like you decided, your soul decided as you came in to do this XYZ, whatever. And you feel like you're distracted or you're procrastinating or whatever. But it's like, they were like, the energy just starts to build up so much that you can't ignore it. You just have to do it. So they're like, or like what you were saying and what they said was kind of like, it just, you're not going to be able to ignore it. And kind of what Oprah says, right? It's going to like hit you with a brick over the side of the head eventually.
Right.
And then the other thing I was thinking about was when we were doing our shamanic stuff more, Lena, she said, one of our friends, Lena, said, you know, you might need to sit around and just eat a bag of chips all weekend. Like this might be part of your healing process. That might just be what you need, even if like everyone else would judge it as being terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, they just okay, so the other thing that dropped in while you were saying all that, not to complicate it, but to complicate it, like sometimes the soul decides to go with plan B because we get a little bit too far from plan A, and or plan B presents so much richness of opportunity and growth. So they're going to give an example. Let's say somebody came in to be a scientist, and the thought behind that is, I'm going to spend all day in a lab doing this research. It's going to be my passion project. I'm going to like bring all these findings forward. I'm going to solve whatever, Alzheimer's, let's say. Yes, I am a Meredith Grey's Anatomy fan, so we'll use that as an example. But along the way, you as a scientist meet the love of your life unexpectedly. And now this becomes the area of growth in this lifetime. Because consciousness, the soul knows, like it's sort of got, well, this is super interesting, like a checklist of things. Like I want to be a scientist. I want to like experience the deepest kind of love. I want to have a family. I want to like rob a bank. Like it's got like all these different things that it wants to experience. And it obviously doesn't do them for most of us all in one lifetime. But it's like, so, okay, so this is going to be my scientist lifetime. Cool. Can't wait. Oh shit. Like this is interesting. Like I think we might be able to experience love this lifetime. So like maybe the soul does some rearranging and now that becomes a priority. Or maybe you do both. So,
no, this makes perfect sense because I was just thinking about the last Talk Tracks episode 11 from the telepathy tapes with Tom Campbell's Theory of Everything, where he's talking about, which I thought was like, this is such a good concept, the possibilities, the probabilities of the possibilities. So like, and then it's sort of like, and then of course now we're watching Dark Matter. Candy and I both just finished Dark Matter on Apple TV. So if you have not watched that yet, first of all, make sure you can see your television at night because
it's dark.
It's actually dark. But it's like quantum physics kind of stuff and the string theory and Schrodinger's cat and all that stuff. But it's like the idea that this what you're saying reminds me of this because he's saying like, in every moment you have all these possibilities and there's a probability on each of the possibilities. And he says your intention actually increases the probability of that possibility. And so it's kind of like when Indianapolis hosted the Super Bowl. I don't know, what was that, 2010? I don't know. And like 12, the whole city was like, first of all, it's February. The weather in Indiana blows in February. And we're like, everybody's like, okay, look, the weather's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It was awesome.
Oh my God. It was sunny 60s and sunny. Yes, this never happens. This has never happened since. It will never happen again unless we get another Super Bowl.
What he's saying is like the probability of it being 60s and sunny is out there. Like it's possible. It happens sometimes. And the fact that we had all of our intention on it increased that probability. So now you're like, I'm going to come into this life and I have my checklist of shit, like robbing a bank and being a scientist. And there's like a probability in all of these things. And then as things happen and come into your life, you might meet choices. That love and be like, never mind, I don't want love. I want to be a scientist, which is exactly what Dark Matter is all about. So like you make that choice and then, I got the chills.
Oh my God, I forgot that was what Dark Matter was about when I used that example.
Yeah, it was. So it's like, now you've changed all your probabilities, right? Like if you choose love, now you have a higher probability of having a child. you know what I mean? If you choose the science route, maybe you have a higher probability of inventing some really major thing. So it's like the probabilities change, the possibilities change given your choices, and the probabilities changed given those choices that you're making
Yes.
and your intention. So, like, you guys, whenever we ask these questions of these higher selves, they're just like, it is very, it's simple and complex at the same time somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like simple and like you're kind of the director, but it's complex in that like there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes kind of. And there's like layers to it.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what family you're born into, where that family lives. Does that family have money or not? Are you raised in an environment where education is important? Do you get nurtured to learn and to grow academically? You know, like the whole
What are you,
process of
yeah, what are
becoming
you
a scientist.
overcoming?
Exactly. Like not all of us are dropped into a life where that is probable without a lot of inertia. So then
Right.
is the momentum there to create that outcome? Or, you know, do you go with something else on the checklist?
Right. Because then the other side of this is like the experience is an experience and there's no like right or wrong way or good or bad way or
Yeah. Or maybe you do pick it because now all of a sudden you're that scientist that overcame all of these challenges and you're checking all kinds of shit off the list. I
yeah.
don't know. Only you can decide. Choose your own adventure.
Candy liked those books. I fucking hated them.
Oh my God, I love them so.
There is a show out about, did
I
you hear
saw
about
that.
this?
You sent it to
Okay.
me. And I
did? Oh my
immediately,
God.
yeah, I immediately got overwhelmed when I read the overview of the show. Because I was just like, the reason that I loved the Choose Your Own Adventure books is because I would pick the one that I was most appealed to or called to, but I read the books enough times that I picked every single adventure. Like,
It
so
says there's a bunch of them.
I know,
I think was the one I sent you Kaleidoscope.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, where you like choose the order of the episodes and then it creates a different story somehow. That's wild.
It is. I might try it, but I might need to wait till winter.
Yeah, you know what? One of my friends said to me, like, she does not have time to watch very much TV. And she's like, do you watch Black Mirror? And like, I didn't
Oh,
even think she was like into any of this stuff. And I was like, no, she's like, it's amazing. You should watch it. And I was like, really?
I've
Did you watch
tried
it?
and I can't get into it. But there is one Black Mirror that is along these same lines.
Like an episode?
Yeah, and it keeps going over like the different choice points. I just got super anxious.
Or if you really want to go back in time, you can watch Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, I did love that movie so much.
Or Fringe.
Yeah.
Fringe is my all-time favorite TV
Fringe
show.
is really good too. So good. Woo, those were good questions.
That was, you never know when you're just going to find something on Instagram that's going to be like, huh, interesting take, Mark.
Yeah, not a distraction, Mark. P.S. That's where you're marketing your shit, Mark.
Calm down, bro.
I love it so much. All right.
Yeah.
Next time, guys.
That wraps this episode of One Card Shy. Did you love it? Leave us a review, share it with your friends, and sign up for our monthly crown straightener. Bonus, you'll get our free Claim Your Crown guide when you subscribe.
And be sure to find us on Instagram and check out our website. Both are rainworld.co. All the links are below. See you next time, Queens.